Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Boston Balling. I'm your host, Gabby Hurlbut. I hope you're all having a great start to the week. Well, it's now the middle of the week, so that's good. So I hope everyone gets through the rest of their week. There's a lot going on in sports right now. You know, we have football season, training camp started, so that's pretty exciting. So that's just a representation that we're closer and closer to football. So that's really exciting. MLB Trade Deadline is this Friday, and a lot of teams are buzzing, a lot of fans talking about, you know, who they want for their teams and everything like that. So that's pretty exciting too. Hockey free agency is open. So it's a great time to be a sports fan right now, and hope everybody is having a great week. So I'm really excited for this episode. I have a couple really talented guys joining me on this episode tonight. They have their own podcast, which I'll let them talk a little bit about before we get started. But Anthony and Diego, how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing wonderful. Well, Gabby, doing well. First of all, just thanks for having us on. We're just excited as you are. And if we're giving a little background of our podcast, first, you can find us on all social media. It's a Bold Statement podcast. We kind of follow all the major sports, but mostly NBA and NFL. But we touch here and there about, you know, when hockey season's here, MLB, a little UFC too. Diego's actually a big soccer guy, so we touch on that also. Yeah, pretty much we started this, roughly almost a year, last football season, and we just been grinding, you know, one week at a time. I think this would be like episode, 40-something, 46, 47, whatever it would be. But yeah, we're excited to be here. We're from Lowell, Mass. Obviously, Boston sports, pretty much all the way around, except for Diego. Diego's a Colts fan when it comes to NFL, so that's where we kind of butt heads.
Yep. Wow, that's interesting. How did you become a Colts fan?
So when I think I was like 8, I turned on the TV and football was on. It was the Colts. I think it was might have been AFC Championship game or divisional. That was the first football game I ever watched. And I was like, oh, it's pretty interesting. So I turned in the next week, and then from there on, I just became a fan. I don't know why. Just
the Peyton Manning.
Yeah, Peyton was playing. Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison.
I was going to say, a lot of people from this area, if they are Colts fans, which that I don't know a lot, but the ones that I do know say a lot of it has to do with Manning.
Yeah. It was just that team then, and it was like literally the first football game I actually sat down and watched. So it makes no sense. That's an interesting
story.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's awesome, guys. I mean, your show, I've checked out some of your episodes, and it's a great show. So I recommend everybody just check that out when you get a chance. It's called the Bold Statement Podcast, and they're on all social media platforms, like they said. So definitely check them out at some point if you can.
Thanks, Gabby. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So on that note, yeah, like I touched on a little bit before, there's a lot going on. I mean, football training camp is in full swing, and a lot of teams are getting ready for the season. I think we can all say that this was an interesting off season, just in terms of the draft and just all the moves that different teams made. I mean, I'm a Patriots fan, and it was nice to see all the moves that they made this off season. And I think that they're going to be in better shape this year than they were last year. And I think that's promising, and that's exciting for Patriots fans like me.
Agreed. I'll let you sit on this one, Diego. Let me agree on everything you said, Gabby. I think the Patriots are ready to ball out this season. Yeah. This is a season where Belichick and Kraft kind of, you know, just let the money go, and ready to bring ballers back to New England. And with Brady leaving, it's obviously going to be a tough adjustment for us. But you know, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Aguilar, if he played like he did last season, might be, you know, a good threat. The big question is how's Newton going to do, right? How's Newton going to do, and is Mac Jones going to outperform him? Training camp, which looks like already early on, Mac got a lot of eyes on him, and he looks like he's the one that's kind of
starting.
You know, I think he might. I think
he's starting. Yeah.
That's a question I was going to ask you guys, though, because that's been kind of a mixed opinion I've heard from people, was whether Cam Newton or Mac Jones was going to start this year. And for the longest time, I was saying Belichick isn't the type, really, I feel like, to start a rookie right away in his first season. And just thinking about how Belichick is, that's just not something that you would think he would do. But at the same time, if Mac is playing better and he feels like he's ready, then maybe he will start. And at this point, from what we're hearing as of lately, it does seem like Mac has been performing better and that maybe he would get the opportunity to start at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, but you're right. That's not something Belichick would do, but I don't think he has really a choice.
He has a choice. He has a choice.
Not really. I mean,
if he wants to start Cam, I do think he starts Cam. If he doesn't feel like Mac is experienced enough yet or is ready to go, then I do think he starts Cam. However, I think Cam's on a very short leash because I think based on what his contract even is this year in the first place, I think he's on a really, really short leash. And I think if he does start, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Mac, a few games into the season as it is if Cam's not performing.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I don't think Cam is what he used to be. I think he gets outplayed in camp, and I think that's Mac's spot. I think at this point, Cam's fighting for it. I think Mac's already probably overtaken him.
Yeah, with all we know, everything that happened last season and COVID, and obviously you got to learn a whole new system coming in short notice, no training camp. So it's not one of those things. You kind of got to give the guy a break. We were a couple games short of even making the playoffs. A lot of last minute drives and fumble the ball and stuff like this. And Cam was he playing before? No, he was injured. So he's coming off an injury as well. So he had a lot of rust to shake off, and hopefully he comes in and kind of shuts all the haters up. And I hope he does, because when Cam's performing at a high level, then he's dangerous. He's obviously had an MVP back in 2015. But we'll see. I'll be optimistic. But then again, you got to be realistic. And if he's not performing first 4 or 5, probably 6 games, I don't know, whatever the records may be. But I think Mac will eventually get into the mix if he's not getting wins, if Newton's not getting wins. So the defense is what we got to talk about, because the defense of the Patriots is back to top 5. They could be back in the top 5 defense, and they bringing back Hightower, got Judon, got a young defensive backs, and I think we're ready to bring back Van Noy also. We're ready to ball out, and look out for the Patriots, the Colts fans.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, 2020 was obviously a tough season as it was, regardless, just with all of the circumstances from that season. And, Cam didn't have the best weapons on offense to really help him succeed that season, nor did he get a full off season to really learn the system. So there was a lot to be said about that too. But I do think that there is a lot that we can say that was on Cam. And I think it's a fair analysis after last season to say that he might just not have it anymore. And I think this season, if he does start, he has a lot of pieces now that around him to kind of help him succeed. And if he can't succeed with those pieces, then maybe he just isn't the guy. And I think that Belichick is aware of that. And I think that's why they were cautious with the contract that they gave him this year, because I think the only thing that he really is at this point is that possible bridge until Mac Jones is ready. But if Mac's ready right away, then Cam probably is going to lose his spot.
Yep. Do you have anything? Because I'm about to go.
I don't care about the Patriots. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean, Stidham is probably not going to be here much longer either.
No, he's out. I like Stidham. I feel bad for him though.
Going back to having Cam succeed and have the offensive weapons around him, I think a big move with that would be in the tight ends. Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, and you see what he did back in Carolina with Greg Olsen. That was his almost like number 1 target. Yeah. So if he can kind of reciprocate that with Henry, then hopefully he that's his number 1 target. And with other pieces like Myers, obviously stepped up big time last year. Our running back core is, I think we have like 12 running backs. It feels like we always have a lot of running backs, but it's always a good mix. Always getting in and out. Obviously, that's a tough position. Always gets injured. But hopefully everything works out for the Patriots. I'm just ready for, fantasy football. I'm ready for the season to start. This time of year is just awesome.
Do you think that the Patriots get a playoff spot this season? Do you think? Because I personally do think Buffalo wins the division again. But I think that the Patriots definitely have a chance to get a wild card spot. Again, really the question mark is the quarterback situation. If you can get a quarterback that can be really locked in with that offense, because you're going to have the defense, and that's not something you're going to have to worry about. So if your quarterback is locked in with that offense, with the team that Bill put together in this offseason, I do think they have a chance to get a wild card spot. I mean, I saw Diego shake his head no, probably because he's biased and doesn't want them to go to the playoffs.
No,
but I also do think they have a chance of getting a wild card spot.
That's not it. The thing is you have to look at how good these teams are in the AFC now. I mean, like last year, the Dolphins went, where'd they go? 10-6. They missed out. The Colts went 11-5 and got a wild card spot. So you have to have a wicked good record to make wild card.
I mean, the Dolphins, it's going to come down to Tua with them, though, still, I think.
Or
whether Tua can perform.
Or Deshaun Watson. They might.
If they pull that off, then
that'd be ridiculous.
I might cry.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. No, I think the Patriots could definitely make wild card. But if not, I don't know. It's going to be tough, man. It's like there's so many good teams now. It's making wild card 11-5 is like.
So I'm looking at just like the AFC now. I'm looking at the board. Buffalo is obviously going to win that division, I think. With the AFC North is going to be either between Baltimore, Cleveland. With the AFC South, it's going to be between the Titans and the Colts, whichever that may be. And then in the AFC West, who's going to take that one? The Chiefs. So Chiefs are going to run it. I could definitely see the Patriots taking a playoff spot. An extra game this season is going to be, it's going to be different with the standings. I don't know how that's going to work, an extra game, but yeah, I think we have a very good chance of making at least a wild card. I'm not expecting us to win the division or anything like that, but definitely just to get step in the playoffs and see what we can do.
And I mean, if you really think about it, how last season went, considering everything related to last season, they actually put together a reasonable record at the end of the season, despite everything that happened last year. And I think that that's promising because they only got better. So it'd be pretty difficult for them to be worse than they were last season. You know what I mean?
Yep. Agreed.
So I think that's promising. I think you guys are right, though. I think there's a lot of good teams in the AFC. I think there's going to be a tight race this year, but I do think the Patriots have a chance to get one of those spots. And like you guys said, that extra game could be a difference maker for some teams. And I mean, the Patriots extra game is against the Cowboys. So I think that, that could help them maybe. I mean, it just recently, I saw something on Twitter that Dak Prescott is having some problems again. So who knows what's going to happen with him come the start of the season.
Yeah.
Too. So
is that based off his injury, the problems?
They don't know yet, but I speculate that it might be.
Probably.
But I guess he was pulled from practice today.
Yeah.
So who knows what's really going to happen with him. But I think it's going to be a challenging season for the Patriots in terms of, some of the teams they're playing. I mean, they're playing the defending Super Bowl champions, which is probably going to be the game of the year. But that's going to be a tough game. I mean, the Bucs managed to re-sign everybody, so that's going to be hard. I mean, Tom Brady's coming back to a place he played for pretty much his whole career.
That's going to be a very emotional game.
A system that he knows. Yeah. So that's going to be tough. And I mean, that division. I mean, the Saints are another one. They're going to be an interesting story without Drew Brees this year, and who's going to start at the quarterback spot for them, and how good are they really going to be without him?
It's one of those similar positions where we kind of just went through with the whole bridge, right? The quarterback is one of the most important, if not most important, position on the field. So without a good quarterback, there's no way you can, you're going to be able to win a championship. So with the bridge, you got Taysom Hill, but Taysom Hill is not, one of those QB1 type players. He's obviously like a Swiss Army knife. You can kind of put him wherever. You could probably put that guy on defense. He might do something. Yeah. But them going out again, Jameis Winston, I think was a great move. They obviously he hasn't really played yet, but he has a good, it's a good opportunity for him to go out and shine and fix his mistakes. He got LASIK eye surgery. Maybe that'll help. Who knows? But I think that would be for the Saints. They still got the weapons. I don't know what's happened with Michael Thomas.
I mean, they also drafted Ian Book, who I actually think he could be a good fit there once he develops, but who knows if he's going to be ready right away to start either.
Yeah, I like Ian Book. I watched him in college. I don't know, but going back to like the AFC, you guys are talking about the wild card. You have to think about it this way. You guys have to beat out. And it's tough because there's the Ravens, the Browns, the Colts, the Dolphins. The Chargers are good too.
The Chargers are definitely not a sleeper team. I think many people are sleeping on them.
Yep. So wild card's gonna be tough. Even if for the Colts are like Tennessee, whoever comes in second in that division. That's going to be tough.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's going to be tough, but I don't think Miami, like you called earlier, Diego, I think Tua's a bust. I don't believe in Tua yet.
I don't either.
I don't believe in that. I believe more in like Jalen Hurts than Tua. I always compared them, like side by side, and I like Jalen Hurts upside more than Tua. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what unfolds. But that's how I think of Tua. I don't think he's the real deal. I think Miami's really overhyping him. But we'll see. I don't know. What do you guys think for young quarterbacks? Who are you kind of excited to see, and maybe your sleeper quarterback?
Oh man, that's easy. My offensive rookie of the year is Justin Fields. He's going to be their starter. I definitely like him. Obviously, you got the guys like Trevor Lawrence and whatnot, but Jaguars aren't that good yet. So
Justin Fields a guy.
Justin Fields.
Yeah, I mean, how much can Trevor Lawrence really do? Because it's not like he really has a team that's good enough right now for him to really succeed in his first year. I think looking at the longer term, it's going to be fun to watch him. But as of this season, what can he really do?
Yeah. That's like a guy you build on for sure.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Trey Lance. I'm excited to see Trey Lance. I don't know. I don't see, but I feel like he's going to be a really good player, very dynamic quarterback. And it's always the 49ers seem to, train, or not really train, but set up their players to succeed. So hopefully we can see what Trey Lance could do. But Justin Fields definitely the guy to watch besides Lawrence.
Yeah, 49ers have a stacked team too. I mean, so it's not hard to do good on offense when your friggin' defense is not putting up too many points. So I'll definitely help them out. But
I mean, and that was the fun thing about this quarterback class was there were so many talented quarterbacks in this class. So I think it's going to be interesting to see which of them actually work out in the NFL and which don't, because you really don't know, because some of them, like we just mentioned with Tua, might not actually work out. So it'll be interesting to see how they can correlate their skills from college over to the NFL. And I think the teams that these players went to are teams where they can really succeed there. Yeah. I think it's just a matter of time for some of them, like with Trevor Lawrence. But I think somebody like Mac Jones, who comes from a system that's very similar to how the Patriots system is run, I think that he's somebody that could make an immediate impact with the talented player that's around him there too.
Agreed. 100%.
And the thing about, I think Patriots fans at first weren't thrilled about the idea of Mac Jones. They wanted, a lot of people wanted Justin Fields. Trey Lance.
Yeah, we were disappointed. I was waiting on draft night, and I was like, no, I think he's really going to fall for us. And then they traded up or something? Was it right? They traded up.
The Bears traded up.
The Bears traded up, right?
Yeah. When the Bears traded up, I was like, I know what's happening now. I was like, the Patriots are definitely going to end up with Mac Jones at this point.
Yeah, we were doing a live stream when it was happening, and I was laughing the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, all those teams that traded up early, it was kind of predictable who they were going for. Like when the Eagles traded up, I was like, he's about to steal the Giants pick too.
Yeah. It was a good draft though. A lot of good players. I'm excited, man. It's gonna be a good year.
I mean, and we got a question in the comments. How do you feel about Joe Burrow? I think he's somebody that had a really, really good season last year, and I think that he's somebody that I'm excited to see continue to grow. And I think he's on a good team. And I mean, we mentioned it already. I think that that's a team that can definitely be really good.
Yeah, I like Joe Burrow. He's definitely a good player to build around. But if you give me the option between him or Herbert, no brainer. I'm going Justin Herbert. But quarterbacks for sure. I love Justin Herbert. I wanted the Colts to draft him so bad.
I think he's good.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that's easier to build around than Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow's a stud though. He's good.
He is for sure. But I just love Justin Herbert a little more.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is very, very good.
Gabby, what was the question again in the comment? What was the question?
How do you feel about
Joe Burrow?
Oh, okay. I mean, it's so tough, going out the first season and tearing your ACL. It's so tough to really see where he's gonna go and what he's gonna do. So that one injury could be one of those plagues that carries through his whole career, and it's like that could have been guy type deal. Hopefully it's not, because we know what he can do, and he has a type of like swagger to him where he puts that onto the field and really, controls the way he runs things. And you could tell when he's on a roll, the Bengals are playing really well. Well, a lot. I mean, a lot better than what they were. The prior year. So
well, I mean. Yeah. No, you can tell they're moving in a positive direction, I think is what I was trying to say. Absolutely. That like you can tell that he's a difference maker with that team, and that I think having somebody like him is a good start for that team's future. And I think, it's hard coming into a situation like that when you're drafted that high in the draft. It's always, you're likely going to end up with teams that don't have a whole lot around you as it is. But I think he as a quarterback is somebody that we can see succeed going forward. I think just, I think that team is definitely moving in the right direction, though, because you did see them, like you guys said, they were kind of different this past season with him.
Yeah. They moved different. They played different. They had a, more fight in them that we saw in the past few years. They have great offense. They have a great offense. Obviously, it sucks to see AJ Green leave. Now he's over in the Cardinals, and I'm like, now who they got Boyd. But they brought back Chase, which is obviously Burrow's #1 guy. So
that's gonna be
that's gonna be very good. If Joe Mixon can actually stay healthy for a year, he could be a top 10 back. He really could. But injuries suck. Doesn't matter what you're playing, and so hopefully these guys bounce back. Heal up and see some good football.
Yeah, I do need to ask this, though, kind of while we're on the topic of, quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. How do you guys feel about the Carson Wentz situation?
Oh, you do.
Yep. This is a perfect question for you. How do you feel about that, and how do you think he's going to fit in with that team?
So, being my biased self, I think he's going to fit in great. But I have reasons. One of the best O-lines in the league. When he was in Philly, his O-line was trash.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be a hero, He has great running back, arguably one of the top running back rooms in the NFL. Good receivers, a good defense, and he's with Frank Reich, who he had his MVP caliber season with. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. It could also be shit.
If you were to rate it like an F to A+, what do you predict Wentz will perform?
I'll give him a B+.
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 Yeah, I mean, I think he can actually succeed. I just think the Eagles weren't the place for him to do that.
No, he needed a new start. I don't know. I think he's going to come in and do really good. But it could also go
that's going to be interesting to see what happens between the Colts and the Titans. I think that's going to be a really, really interesting story to watch all season. And those are going to be two really tough teams that everybody else in the AFC is going to have to face. And, that's like you said, I mean, one of those two teams, whichever one doesn't win the division, probably has a really good chance of getting a wild card spot. So that's a team that the Patriots need to look out for.
But both those teams can even, make it to the big game. And I really see the Titans making that push, and I can also see the Colts making that push if Wentz is playing at a good level. Maybe not elite level, but a well enough level where the defense can kind of save his ass some games type deal. Yeah. And he puts enough points on the board where he doesn't really have to stress about all that stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I do. It's always, they're very comparable, the Colts and the Titans. I don't know why I've always, compared them. I don't know how you feel. I think they're neck and neck. I think they're neck and neck, to be honest.
Now they are. Now they are.
That's what I mean.
Not recently. Not recently, but not
before. No, recently, not before. As the past few years. That's how
I can't have that disrespect.
Yeah, no, don't worry.
No, I think I agree with that. I think those are going to be tough teams, and I think, like we said before, I think there's a lot of good teams in the AFC, and it's just going to be, that race is going to be tight. And I think you have, Buffalo is going to be right in the mix. Cleveland, I liked what I saw in the postseason from them last year. I think they're absolutely not a sleeper team. I think they could win their division. I think they have a definite chance to win their division. So I think there's going to be a lot of fun teams to watch this year.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see what comes out, as training camp progresses, and especially the Patriots quarterback situation, and just intently kind of seeing what comes out as training camp goes on with who he's more leaning towards. Because right now it seems like he's starting to more and more buy into the idea of starting Mac Jones.
Can't wait. I can't wait for it. Mac Jones start. He's starting
for the Watson stuff too. See where Watson goes.
Yeah,
Broncos,
that's always been. I mean, that's always been a thing for a while now. Though, is will he actually be traded, and where will he go? What team has enough assets that they can offer the Texans for him?
Yeah, I think either the Broncos or the Dolphins are the two I could see him going to. I think he'd do great in either or. I mean, Dolphins especially now.
If he goes to Miami, then that would be a terrible.
I think he can, especially now that Xavier Howard wants out. They could definitely package trade that'll be good for both teams. Yeah. Xavier Howard, and some picks for Watson, and because they're both like Howard's one of the top corners, Watson's one of the top quarterbacks. So you won't have to give up too much, and you got two guys that want to go. So it's not like.
But I feel like you're still gonna have to give up quite a bit with Howard to get Watson.
Howard.
That's not going to be enough. That's not going to be close.
No. I say Howard a first and maybe a second.
But you put Watson in the Miami. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. Yeah, that's
what I'm saying. If he goes to Miami, then I would be genuinely more scared about that division because I mean I already have accepted the fact that we're probably not going to finish better than Buffalo, but I do think there's a chance that the Patriots could finish better than Miami if they don't have Deshaun Watson. But if they have Deshaun Watson as their quarterback, then that's a huge game changer for me.
And the Jets shouldn't even dress up any Sunday because they really would have no shot. They really had no shot. If you were a player on the Jets and you see, say Deshaun Watson, even like regardless, like right now, but like even said, you see Watson go to Miami, just like, all right, what the hell am I going to do here? I'm just going to wait. I'm wasting time.
Don't count the Jets out too much.
The Jets, I think they're moving in the right direction. I think there's still plenty of work they have to do, but with their coaching situation, that's going to be a lot better, I think. And I do think that and I think that Sam Darnold needed to get out of there too, because I don't think that was the best situation for him. And I think he took the heat for a lot of the Jets' problems when in reality it wasn't all on him.
No.
And so, I think I'm actually happy that he's in a different situation now because I think he needed to be moved and not be with them because I don't think he ever would reach his full potential there.
And Carolina's a good system for Darnold too. I think that's a good fit for him. Everywhere, I don't know where I would put him, but yeah, I think that was a good fit. Way to land in Carolina. Him and CMC, and I think they have Robbie Anderson, and they kept one. Was it DJ Moore or Samuel left? Right? Was Samuel? Went elsewhere.
Yeah, DJ Moore's still there.
DJ Moore's still there. Yeah,
DJ Moore's a sleeper, man. I love DJ Moore. He's underrated.
Yeah, he's talented. Yeah.
He's underrated.
What is your prediction for the Patriots record right now? I feel like I'm leaning towards maybe
now we got 17 games. Now we got 17.
I'm saying 11-6, maybe something along those lines.
Man.
All right, Gabby, real quick. I'm gonna pull up their schedule here. I think we did a really early.
We did
prediction, did we?
Wicked early.
Interesting.
I got the Pats at 9-8.
What did I have? Do you remember?
Yeah. I think you had them at 10-7.
I do think they win at least 10 games. That I really do think will happen.
I think I
do not think it's going to be like last year.
So big and the NFC teams coming. Well, not coming in, but that's what we're playing. We're playing the Saints. We're playing the Bucks. We are playing
Browns, Colts, Titans.
Yeah, I'm thinking NFC.
Bills twice, Dolphins twice.
And Dallas.
Buccaneers. You got some tough games.
And the Falcons too.
Well, they're playing that whole division. That's why.
They're playing that whole division. Okay, so I mean, I don't see us. Why can't we go 10-7, 11-6?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't see why we can't. I can see us splitting with Buffalo, splitting with Miami, definitely sweeping the Jets. The Bucks are gonna catch a heavy L with the Browns.
I'd like to hope not, but
I hope not. But I think Brady's just gonna wax us.
Come in and light things up in Foxborough.
Yeah, just finish it up. Just finish it up.
Yeah, I mean, I really am. When I say 11-6, that's.
It's not even being
optimistic,
biased.
But actually relatively reasonable because looking at their schedule, I don't. If they play at their full potential with the talent they have on paper right now, I don't see a reason. In the coaching, obviously, I don't see a reason for them to not be able to do that.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm like, yeah, I can definitely agree with that because there's not much that really stands out. To be honest, the biggest stands out would be the Bucks, maybe the Browns, and both the Buffalo games. Oh, then we got the Colts too. We got the Colts.
Yeah, I mean the Browns are going to be tough. Also, there's going to be tough games in there for sure.
There will be, but games we can win. Games we can win. It's not one of those games where we're going to catch, count it as an L right away. We're going to compete in every single one of these games if we do, like you said, play to our full potential. So
yeah, I mean, you guys always compete no matter what. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
No matter what.
Yeah.
But I do see 9-8. They definitely could squeeze in a 10-7.
See this guy.
I'm being optimistic. You guys got some tough games. I mean, going down, the Dolphins are going to be tough. You play them twice. The Bills are tough. Even if you split, you got the Buccaneers. The Cowboys are going to be tough again. They've made some good moves.
Well, they needed to fix their defense. Their defense mainly was the issue with them. They did a lot in the draft to try to fix their defense. Yeah. I mean, I have the Dolphins winning the NFC East. That was my initial prediction, that I think they win that division. I mean, they came close to winning that division without Dak last season. So, I mean, I obviously we'll see what his status is now. But I think that looking at the NFC East right now, I do think the Giants are going to be better. I think Daniel Jones is a wild card. Obviously, I think this has to be the season where he performs.
Yeah, because he's on a leash too. He's on a leash.
Anybody but the Eagles in that division, I could see winning it and not be surprised. But I'm leaning towards picking Dallas.
Yeah, I think Dallas. I think I don't know, the football team. I wouldn't count him out too. I guess Tyler Heineke's performing really well in camp too. Throwing dimes.
And that performance against Tampa Bay,
that got him paid.
Everybody.
Yeah,
everybody. I mean, that game was not supposed to be that close.
No, God no. And then that defensive line
football team.
Yeah, their defense is great.
Yeah.
So that's another thing.
I don't know. And I like Ron Rivera. He's a great coach.
Yeah, who doesn't love him?
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty, I wouldn't say good division, but I'd say close.
It's a competitive.
Yeah.
Very competitive division.
Not necessarily good, but
no one's going to win the game. No one's going to really take it deep in that division, but it's going to be, who's going to fight to win that division.
Yeah,
deal. So,
exactly.
I think the division to watch this year is going to be the NFC West, Seahawks, Rams. I think Rams take that.
That's going to be a fun division.
Yeah.
I have Cardinals as my, I don't know what you say sleeper team, but definitely a team where I made a bold statement where they're going to take it all the way to the big game. I like to see the Cardinals kind of pull the upset and just take it all the way.
They could.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really like that, Gabby? I know you like that. Bold statement.
No, I was reading in the comments somebody saying the Eagles were going to win that division, and so I couldn't really help but laugh a little bit at that.
Yeah, get him out the chat. Get him out the chat.
But I mean, yeah, I think this is going to be an awesome season. I think it's going to be really exciting. There's a lot to watch out for this year for sure.
Oh, I'm just looking at these comments now. Oh, this is awesome. I was looking at the private chat. And I didn't see all these comments here.
Oh, yeah. But I do want to switch gears here briefly to baseball because the trade deadline is this Friday. Mm-hmm. Literally news just broke probably less than 10 minutes ago that Joey Gallo is going to the Yankees.
Oh my God.
I have not yet seen what the return is for him, but it was kind of an anticipated move because the Yankees
buy everybody?
Buy a lot of their fans. Here's the thing that I am going to say about that. I do think it's a good move for the Yankees. However, I don't think it's a move that puts them over the top. I still don't think that they are just going to make this dramatic comeback and win the division.
No,
I think that their best hope now still is a wild card spot. And I think that there's still a lot of question marks with that offense. And I don't think that he's just having him. And obviously he's a great hitter and they could use somebody like him. But I do not think just adding him is making them dramatically better right now.
I don't think. See, the Yankees. Obviously, the Yankees have the money to spend, but I don't see them. They always, spend all these money on players, but they're never performing how they should. On paper, they're like the best team in baseball, but when it comes to come game time and all these tough games, they're nowhere to be found. Aaron Judge supposed to be one of the best out there. He's going like 0 for 4 with like 3 strikeouts or whatever it may be. Yeah. Stanton was supposed to be the biggest deal, and he's been nothing. I don't know. With the Yankees, they used to obviously scare me, but now it's like we got their number this year, and they're not a problem
by a lot.
Well, yeah, it's the Red Sox got some grit, and they're pulling out these games that they're supposed to be losing, but down the stretch, 8th inning, like the other day, we were down 5-0 or 4-0.
I think it was 3-0.
Oh, the Yankees. Are you talking about the Yankees game?
Yeah, 3-0 with no hits going
the
into
Yankees
the 8th.
game. Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
It was like 4-0, and they were getting no hit going into the 8th inning, and then they scored 5 runs in the inning.
That's it.
That's what the Red Sox do, though. The Red Sox are really good at coming from behind in games and winning. I think that's which is good. I mean, you can't rely on that every game. It's not going to happen all the time. So that's why the pitching needs to be locked in too. But the offense is very, very good, and the offense has kept them in a lot of games that they should have probably lost. And I think that's a special thing about the Red Sox this year is how good that offense is. But they still need to add a couple pieces. I mean, there's a lot going around. I know that ownership is trying to push Chaim Bloom to try to get Max Scherzer at the trade deadline, which in a way, obviously that would be fantastic. I mean, they would be a World Series favorite, I would think, if you have Chris Sale and Max Scherzer in the same pitching rotation. But the question is who would they give up for him? And I think Chaim Bloom, they need to just let him do his job because he works silently, and that's why I think he's really heard of a lot going on. I think they need a reliable first baseman because they don't really have a legitimate first baseman right now. And I know Anthony Rizzo is one of the biggest names out there right now for the Red Sox to possibly get. But I also think a pitcher of some sort is the other that they need to try to prioritize. But I do think we see some Red Sox news really, really soon. I don't think he's sitting around not doing anything because before the season started, we all thought that was happening. And then he went out and made a ton of moves.
Yeah.
So I think he has something in the works. We just don't know what that is yet because he's always been kind of a quiet guy when he works.
I'm trying to see if I could find this, the whole who's on free agency, who's on, kind of the list of who can go where type deal.
Like rumors and whatnot?
Yeah. So it looks like –
I mean, I got a list
Chris
here.
Bryant, Craig Kimbrell.
Craig Kimbrell's another one that's been talked about.
Didn't he get traded yesterday?
And coming back. Huh?
I thought he got traded yesterday.
I don't think so.
Not that I saw.
No, I don't think so.
But I don't see them trading for Craig Kimbrell just because Matt Barnes has actually been solid
he's been real
closing
solid
this year.
Yeah.
So I don't really think that that's something that they would address. If anything, I do think they try to get another starter because Richards and Perez have not been good this year. And so I think if they acquire somebody, then one of them probably just gets moved to the bullpen and the other one they probably just drop. But I think the thing with Max Scherzer, he basically said he probably wouldn't accept a trade to New York, so that eliminated the Yankees from that situation. I think the NL West is a possible division for him to end up in. I think the Dodgers or Padres or Giants, all three of those teams were interested. But they are saying the Red Sox, Rays, and Blue Jays are also interested. If he goes to the Rays, then I'll be scared about the division.
I'd be more worried. Definitely, I'd be more worried. But if
Tampa Bay is not that far behind the Red Sox right now in the division, and the division is going to come down to those two teams. And most likely that the Red Sox and Rays are both going to make the playoffs as long as they just keep winning games. It's just a matter of we want to try to win the division so they don't have to have that one game playoff, that wild card playoff game. And so that's why it's important for the Red Sox to try to make a move or two at the deadline to really solidify everything because they're playing obviously good baseball right now. I mean, they're leading the division. They're at the top of the American League. But if you want that to continue through the playoffs, you do need to add somebody. And I do think somebody that is a reliable first baseman, I think is going to be really beneficial for this team. And I do think he does make some kind of move like that. And I do think maybe we see a pitcher. I just don't know if it'll be Max Scherzer or not.
I would definitely, pursue a pitcher more than a first baseman, I think, because Richards. What's his name?
Richards.
Yeah. He's got to go. He's got to go.
But we do have a pretty big rotation. Come playoffs, you're not going to rotate 5 or 6 guys.
No.
And Chris Sale's going to be back too. Let's keep that in mind because Chris Sale, I mean, obviously, we don't know if he's going to be 100% right away just because of going to Tommy John. You don't know, but he has looked pretty good in his rehab assignments. So that's pretty exciting. And so keep in mind that the rotation will consist of Chris Sale when he comes back too.
So now I'm looking at, so it would be, say, if we don't get Scherzer, it would be Sale, Eovaldi, and Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Rodriguez.
That's probably top three.
Tanner Houch.
Yeah, he's been doing wicked.
Tanner Houch, yeah.
Solid too. I think he's there, and then Nick Pivetta probably would be the other one. I think that's a pretty solid rotation you have right there.
Okay. Give me Rizzo. I want Rizzo.
That was one thing that I was really worried about, is the pitching this year. But it looks like, we really haven't let up a lot of runs in a lot of these games. It's not like one of those. Been very good.
They've only given up. They've given up 4 or less runs.
Yeah,
in a lot of the games recently, and so I think that's promising for the pitching. But it still worries me a little bit in the playoffs because they're facing teams like the Astros and White Sox, who are very good teams. I don't know that this pitching can hold up against teams like that. I mean, the Astros have the Red Sox number this year too, and so that's a team right now that I would be a little bit worried about facing. And the chances of them facing the Astros in the first round are pretty good, depending on how everything turns out with the American League and the records and everything. But the Astros are right up there. And if the Red Sox win the division, that is a team they could end up facing in the first round. It just depends.
It's tough.
I could definitely see that. And I that's one of those teams where I think that's everyone's, hated team. No one likes the Astros. Nobody likes the Astros. I don't like the Astros. I don't like how they went about their shit, whatever, 2 years ago, whatever it was.
Nobody likes the Astros.
Nobody likes the Astros besides Houston. But
I still would rather see the Astros win than the Yankees. But
without a doubt. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I still think the Yankees, even though they just got Joey Gallo, I think I still don't trust their pitching fully enough either. And their offense, I still don't think even with him is versatile enough compared to other teams where they can make a serious run. And I think even if they do squeeze into a wild card spot right now, because as of right now, if the season ended now, the Yankees would not be in the playoffs. So I think if they squeeze into a wild card spot, which they are close, I still don't know that they likely would have to play probably the Rays as of right now in the wild card game. It'd be either the Rays or Red Sox probably, depending on who doesn't win that division. And I just think the Rays and Red Sox offenses are more versatile than the Yankees. And I think the Rays have a pitching advantage too over the Red Sox for sure, I think. Too.
Yeah.
And so I think, I think there's a lot to be said for what the Red Sox have put together for this year. I think that there's a lot of, I keep using the word versatility, but I'm serious in terms of how their offense is constructed. I think they have a lot of hitters that can do a lot. They can hit home runs, but they can hit singles and doubles. They can steal bases. They'll take their walks. Like they find ways to get on base and they create runs, which you don't see with teams like the Yankees as much. They have a lot of strikeout or home run hitters, and
that's all it is. That's all.
And I think that you can't really win a World Series with that. And I do think that in terms of the Yankees, I think Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone are both in the hot seat right now. I think they've had enough time now, especially Cashman with the roster he's had to be able to win something and hasn't been able to produce. So I think that their time is wearing thin if they don't win a championship.
I love seeing them come to shambles. I love it.
Yeah,
we all do.
I know. I do too. I mean, as a Red Sox fan, I enjoy it. And I think even just the head-to-head matchups, when you watch the Red Sox play the Yankees this year, you can just tell that the Red Sox are a better team. And I don't think that it's that hard to really see that. There's just the Red Sox have, the offense, and I think also just their attitude is better. The way that they approach games and that desire to win, I think, is something that the Red Sox have more that the Yankees don't have. And I think they're managing Alex Cora, I think, as a manager, and the way he connects with his team, I think is something that's really helped fuel their success. And so I think
for sure.
I think the Red Sox will go to the World Series this year. I don't know. I think they have as good of a chance as anybody else in the American League, but I do think that these next 48 hours are a little less than that because the deadline is at 4 on Friday. I think what they do in this time frame is going to be super important because if they can go out and get a couple solid players in this time frame, they're only going to be better than they are now, and they're already playing good baseball.
Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know about you, But I feel like we really, hit the goal with some of these young players, Verdugo and Arroyo, and these players are coming in and really playing at a high level. And I think we got lucky. We have a really good farming system. It seems like.
If you didn't mention Devers,
Devers, that's bro. He's been there. I'm talking about, we had.
He's young, though.
It's 3 years, right? 3 years in or something like that.
He's young.
But I'm talking about, the new guys who just came in.
Oh yeah, like Hunter Renfroe and like
Renfroe's very good.
It took him a bit, but I knew he'd get to hit. I know what you mean now. Yeah. I thought you meant like some of the young guys.
Like, no, I feel like a whole team's young. A whole team's young.
A lot of because they have actual solid prospects now that they haven't had for a while, and that's something that Bloom did a really good job of, is trying to start rebuilding the farm system. So I do think if he makes a big move, he gives up prospects, but he won't give up those top guys. I do not think he'll follow through on a trade if he has to give up his top prospects. I think for some of these teams, they're just going to be looking to get rid of people and just it's a salary dump in a lot of cases here, I think. And so I think they'll take some more mid-level prospects. And I think that that's something that Bloom is good at, is kind of recognizing talent that he thinks would be a good fit in Boston. And when they got Hunter Renfroe, nobody was super scared of the Red Sox because of Hunter Renfroe, but Bloom knew that he would probably be a good fit in Boston, and he's proving on both sides of the ball that he's a good fit here. And I think that that's something that Chaim Bloom is especially good at, is finding talent that he thinks fits in with this team, even if they're not, the best player out there, but they can succeed here, and that's what you need on this team.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely agreed.
And then what's that pitcher's name? Tanner Houck?
No.
Yeah, he has 4 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts already. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's good. Right, he's a stud. He pitched a few games last year, but it was a shortened season last year, so it wasn't really enough to gauge, how he was going to be. But he's been outstanding. I think that he's definitely a solid piece going forward. Some people were saying they would trade him for Max Scherzer, but I wouldn't. I think that he's, with Max Scherzer's age and the fact that he would likely be a rental, I don't think it's worth giving up somebody with Houck's talent that could be a future of the franchise for Max Scherzer, who is probably going to be a rental just to help you make a World Series run this year.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
They can take Richards. Give him Richards.
Yeah, take Richards and take a couple of the other pitchers that have been struggling. Like Martin Perez is the other one that I don't like.
Take them all.
Except for Chris Sale and Evaldi's actually been solid.
I'd keep him. I'd rather Evaldi than Erod. I'm not a big Erod fan, especially this year.
Erod's been struggling. After last season when he missed the season, I think that kind of took a huge toll on him. So I think that he that's been showing this year. I think he's had some good starts, but he's been super inconsistent is the problem.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I think he'll still be in the rotation, obviously, but I think if you get another pitcher, then you have options. You can move somebody to the bullpen and know that, you just have an extra pitcher on hand that you can kind of just be flexible with where you move people. So that's really good. But I do think they make a move. I know Red Sox fans are freaking out right now over Joey Gallo going to the Yankees. And they're like, well, why aren't the Red Sox doing anything? But I do think that they will. I think he's just waiting for, just the right package and just making sure he's piecing together the right people. But I do think he's having the conversations, and I think they do make a big move by Friday that does make them get better.
Yeah, we got plenty of time. I'm not.
And you don't want to kind of ruin what we got going just for, to possibly make a push in this year's run. So I think you got to be smart about it, not really ruin the future of where we're going. But like you said, the package makes sense for us, and you can kind of see maybe a long-term deal out of whatever we may get. Then shoot for it. Shoot for it. See, looks like people over here are saying that Rizzo goes to the Sox, and I'm gonna be pissed. Sincerely, a Cubs fan.
That's I'm hearing a lot about that. I know that they've had the conversation about it already a few different times, and I think it's maybe just a matter of now finding the right prospects to send over there. Yeah. But I think that's somebody that can really enhance your offense. He's a lefty, and we need another we could use another left-handed bat, and what you're going to get from him at first base. And I think that that's good because you have young players like Bobby Dahlbeck and Michael Chavis who are just unfortunately not performing, and I don't think that they're part of the future. So they're people that you could possibly package in to a trade that maybe would be better off somewhere else anyway.
I can see that. For sure. I mean, there's a lot of hype in the beginning. It looked like they were, had a good start, but they kind of fell off and never really heard about them. Well, I haven't really heard about them. I don't really like, talked about it earlier. I don't follow the baseball like that, but we obviously know what's going on in the Red Sox. I've been to a few games this year, and it's always good to go out there and even watch the game firsthand. Because I can tell you right now, me watching on TV, I'll be sleeping on my couch in a matter of like 20 minutes. But it's kind of like one of those things you kind of put on the background, like you check from time to time to see how it's going. So, but playoff baseball is a lot different. I mean, every pitch counts, it's one of those things where you're engaged the whole game, and that's why when October comes around, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and it's, it's coming up. There's only a couple months left to the regular season. Yeah. And so I think, they're going to keep playing good baseball. Hopefully they can just stay ahead of the Rays and win the division and not have to play in that wild card game, because that's going to be
Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Yeah, but yeah. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a fun rest of the season and into the postseason. I think they do have a chance. We'll just see what happens in these next couple days before the trade deadline and see what he really does, because there's a lot of names being tossed around and there's a lot that they can do, and they have the cap space to do it. So I think that's good too. So that's promising. But I appreciate you guys joining me on the show. This was an awesome conversation. Hopefully we can do an episode together again sometime. I think that would be fun.
Absolutely.
But just before we go, just let everybody know where they can find you guys on social media.
Oh, for sure. Well, first we want to thank you, Gabby, for even having us on. Like you said, we had a good time. But yeah, for everyone watching, you can find us at, pretty much all social medias. We're really big on Twitter. And if you could subscribe on YouTube, it's a Bold Statement Podcast. On Twitter, it's Bold Statement Pod.
Nope, Bold State Pod.
Bold State Pod.
Yeah.
Diego controls the social media.
Too many like.
But yeah, around those, Bold Statement Podcast, you'll find us, if you search us anywhere. So we appreciate obviously coming on, and for sure once when maybe NFL season starts or before it starts, get some predictions, come back on.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. Everyone have a good rest of your night. I really appreciate you tuning in to Boston Balling every week. This was a lot of fun, and hope you all have a good rest of the week. And most importantly, go Patriots and go Red Sox and all the Boston sports teams.
Damn right.
Yes, besides Patriots.
Besides the Colts.